Good morning, traders. Welcome to our trading room. For my YouTube viewers, you will have this recording because we put it out every Monday morning as the weekly outlook. Disclaimer. I would show you where I think the charts are going to go for the coming week. Most times I would also show you for the day. Those are just direction where it can go, right? Those directions could change if we don't have a complete pattern. What we use is called wave analysis. And if you don't know anything about wave analysis, you may want to watch some of my past videos. Probably will help you understand what we do here. If you're seeing this video for the first time, please go watch some more videos. It's quite interesting. So you will learn something. I guarantee you will learn something. So with that said, I'm going to start. I'm going to go through everything. We're going to do all the majors. We're going to do some cryptos. We're going to do some stocks. We're going to do some indices, probably oil and natural gas and a few more things. But if you would like to have this entire list that is here that we go through every day, 5 times a day. So I am here 3 times a day, sometimes 4 if there's news in between. But my traders are here before me and they're here after me in the trading room. So I'll say an average 5 times a day we are in the trading room. If you would like to join us, send me a Skype message. The Skype is in the description, at the very top of the description. Click on it, send me a message, and you'll be able to join us. I want to thank all the people who came for the free sessions we offered for a month. I hope you enjoyed and I hope it helped you. And we would glad to have you in our trading room again if you'd like to join us. You know what to do. That said, let's go. So dollar index, if you remember from last week when it broke the stop, I showed you the pattern. I said there's a likelihood it could still go up more, but it's going to make a correction. And I literally showed you the different versions of how that correction could look like. Well, we're in this correction. And as of now, it still is a correction. By definition, that's still correcting. It's correcting this impulse, that move. Now, here's the question. Can it come here? Or would it do this? Both of those are possible. Structurally based on the way we're looking at the structure, both of those are possible. And for new traders or traders who are not sure how wave analysis works, or traders who are very limited in their knowledge about trading, if you think that, oh, he just showed us 2 directions, he has no idea what he's saying, right? I've heard that before. Oh, he just said it can go up and it can go down. He doesn't know what to trade. Well, we don't know what we're going to do with that. So you have to listen for like 2 more minutes and then you'll understand. Since it can go both ways, before we take a trade any of those directions, we will wait for something called confirmation. That confirmation means we'll be getting a specific setup for the buy or a specific setup for the sell. And if we get one of those setups, we will take the trade. And even that doesn't actually confirms that it is only going to go up or it's only going to go down. So let's say I get a sell setup and I take it here today. This thing could drop out of here. And if for whatever reason I think it's not coming here, I'll close that trade. If I get another sell setup, I'll sell it again. It might do this. And if for whatever reason I think it's not going more and we get out of that trade, it could still make another flag and we'll still be doing this, right? And then at this point, it start doing this. So I'll be happy that I got out of those 3 trades because we'll be buying this to go back to the top there. So you will say, well, how did it come this much and go there? Wave analysis. Let me show you this one. See this here? We were selling this, and we were selling this, and we were selling this, and we were selling this. And then it did this. And we started to buy this, and then we realized, hey, it's getting bigger and bigger. And we were buying, we thought it would do this, but then it started to do this. And guess what when you see that? Well, you know that is coming down. Although we broke out of this, it made a deeper correction and come here. This could come here, make a deeper correction, and still go back up. That's why it's called wave analysis, not straight line analysis. And that has nothing to do with the news. For those of you who had joined us last week, you were amazed by the way we forecast before the news happened. We literally show you that it's going to drop and then it's going to go right back up. And I would be showing you some of that in gold and silver that we did, right? If you are not part of my group, I'm pretty sure you ought to be amazed by that because you're seeing it happening live in front of you for the very first time in your life, trading career. My traders are used to it. That in front of the news, we can tell you it's going to come here and then it's going to go right back up. And regardless of what the news was going to be, that was what this is going to do. So for those of you who didn't join, sorry you didn't get to see that happen. So what we're looking for here now is mostly an upside. And there are many reasons for that. I'm expecting this to stop and go up. But right now, there might be a sell setup. So we do have this. And this is one of the two things. This is either a running flat or a channel. Because we have divergence, I will treat that as a channel and we'll be looking for a buy setup to the upside. That's one thing, right? The second thing, if it is a running flat, then it needs to break out of that running flat structure, make a flag, and then we will sell. If that's confusing you, go watch more of my videos. We will not sell this here as it stands until we have a confirmation that it's not making a channel anymore, and that is a running flat, and then we will go for this to the downside. And we, like I said, I don't know how far it's going to go. But if it gives us the buy, we know for sure that there's a possibility we're coming to break this top, because it did that every time when you get an impulse to the upside. So if this is a channel, my traders know how to trade channel. We normally put an entry order for the buy. It's too early to say it's a channel because, I mean, there's not a lot of pieces there. But what we can do is do this and wait. I want to see it break the low again, and then we'll put our first entry order in for the buy setup. Because if you put it here and it becomes an expanding flat, you'll be tagged and go down. So at this point, you only have two up moves. Let's wait. It looks more like a channel to me than a running flat. So we'll wait and see. This was the one we were forecasting where we assumed that it is going to drop. The first move would be that it's going to drop to the bottom here, and then it's going to go back up, and you want to buy above the top because from there, it's going totally to the upside. So I hope most of you got that trade because the magic worked. And now we're in this structure. This is pretty easy. And I think we know where this is going. It's a sell setup that is already an active trade, which means we have an entry order there for the sell. Now, would that be the one that dropped? I don't know, but it looks like it could be because last week when we were doing this and we started to do that, we figured out that this is a correction and we're going to go back up like this, which is what happened here. You're going to break the top, and then from there, you're likely going to come back here. And the reason we think more downside, well, structurally, we have more downside. I could see this coming back like this move here. I could see it going back up, and I could see it coming back here because we still might end up with this as a running flat. And if you get all of this, which if you remember when we had this sharp one, we decided this could be very corrective because it might go back to the top, complete this one, and then we're going to get this down. Right? So there was that option, and then there was a second option. Well, what if this is making a running flat here, right? Like 1, 2, 3, and this was going to come sharp. This is not coming down sharp. So I think that running flat is almost negated, especially with this amount of consolidation here. And if this becomes the core correction in that whole thing, then this down move would tell us whether that is so. And if we get all of this, well, then we pretty much sure this whole thing is the most corrective part in that whole structure. So what we're looking for is a sell setup right now. Now, not necessary that that one is going to drop very far. If you look at the move, this is the move we're looking for now. It wasn't really that strong a move to the downside, but we'll keep an eye on how it goes. It's a sell setup, and we'll put that trade on. Gold was the same thing. We assumed that the first move is going to drop, break this low, and then go right back up. Hope you got that. It did make this one you see already fulfill. In the lower time frame, there was a pullback. I checked it. There was a pullback on that here. There was 2 pullback there, and you could even put it with this one if you want, because this was the lowest one. So that pullback, I would assume, is over, and I'm not sure if both of them are correct. But we'll assume that that is finished, right? We're going back to the top. Again, gold has a different structure than silver. Remember, I said we were expecting silver to drop. Now, gold could drop. There's a chance that this might just be a correction and might retest this low before it goes. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think most likely what's going to happen is we start to go back up. We're making an assumption that this is a contracting flat here. I don't really like contracting flats. So if I'm wrong about that, we will go with this as a running flat. We don't have a sell setup. Unlike silver, which has a sell setup, gold doesn't have a sell setup. If it does come and retest the low, we'll go with that as the running flat because we do have a big flat here in this move down. That was a bigger correction. And this will still go up. Now, let's go back to this piece and see on the 15, do we have any setup? No, but we have a buy setup, and that means we will buy it. So we'll be putting a buy on gold. As of now, we have a small 15-minute flag. It could turn into a bigger 1 hour flag. It's kind of a very small one. and it's a buy setup. So this is going to be a buy setup. Now let's go back to silver and see. If gold is to go up, there is a chance that silver does not break through here, but it works its way back to the top like this. We're not buying into this because this will come back here and then go. Right? So this will continue to go up more. And there's no, it can go higher. It's in terms of the impulse going up, it can go higher. It can come all the way back to this top. Right? With this be the low? I don't think so. We're not going for the contracting flattering thing. So I think it could go a little higher and then come back, which means up movement in gold should be faster than in silver. Down movement will be faster in silver than in gold. So we're selling gold, buying silver. It's not guaranteed which one of those trades will tag. Maybe none of them tag. But we're going to put those entry orders because those are the setups we get. And by the end of, I don't know, by the New York session, we will probably see which one of those are, more expected to go, which one has more consolidation, which has a higher probability. That's the word I'm looking for. So right now, let's go. Euro, we have a flat here. We got a flat here. So that should have been a buy setup. Is it going anywhere? This turned out to be, take this off. This turned out to be the low in this one. So we will have to just go with this as the contracting flat here. And this is the low. There's a big flat here and we're going up. Do we expect this to go lower? Well, yeah, we're thinking it could come all the way here. So we'd still keep an eye on this. If it's going to drop, we'll start to sell. Put this trend line here. That trend line is just to tell me that we're making a small move up, not necessarily a correction. It does have a flat here, but it could be start of an impulse. So right now we have buy setup. Now we do have divergence. So that buy setup could be very short-lived, right? It could just probably do this and then come back. So trade management here would be very important. Really, really important. Should that not go, we'll have to get out of the trade really fast. We did break this low, but I'm not expecting it to go back up a lot. Maybe correct higher, but not go back up a lot because we might be dropping to this low here, right? Again, just like the dollar, index. Is this a 1, 2, 3 for upside? Would it retest this stop and then drop? That possibility exists. It's not necessary, but it exists. We do have divergence here in the 4-hour, and we think we have 1-hour divergence between these two. Yeah, we do have 1-hour divergence there. So that means upside is possible, but this divergence is my problem. We'll take the trade, we'll manage it, and if it takes off and this goes higher, then yes, that will change. This divergence can change because if you get a sudden spike here, this will go higher, and then there will be no divergence. So let's see. We're looking for a buy setup here. This would be a buy setup. You don't necessarily have to put it right now because it looks like a small running flat. I'll be careful with it, right? So probably wait for this to pull back and then put the entry order above the top. So I'll put it as a buy setup, not a buy as yet, because we're not putting the entry orders yet. Do we have any Euro news today? No, it's pretty quiet. As a matter of fact, we don't even have anything in the New York session. So this is like the only session for the day. New York would be off because bank holiday. So we'll see how that goes. Pong. Okay, I think this is pretty clear. Now, we broke this low. We went back, and we need to come and break this low, but we didn't. And this is going back up. And I think if you remember Friday, we were looking at this and said, well, they don't really look equal. So this has too much in it, right? So there's a good chance that this kind of work its way back, come back here, make that, and then come for the final one, making this big. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. Now, if this happened, the size of this might force us to rethink whether we want to put all of this in one there. And then we'll have to go back and see whether there's a possible pattern there like W, X, Y, X, Z. And that will depend on how big this gets. Right? If that gets really big, that's it. But when it comes here, it's upside. Now, can this thing stay here for 2-3 weeks more? Absolutely. Can we trade it? We'll definitely do that. So go to the 15 minutes and look for a sell setup. Now, you want to look for a sell setup because this thing keeps dropping, right? It keeps dropping back. And this is starting to look like it could drop to the bottom and then go back up. Or at least break this low and then go back up, making a bigger flat here. Right? That possible. Can it work its way up some more? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm not buying it. Right? This can work its way up some more. but I'm not buying into that. I want to drop. I want this. So maybe there isn't any trade on this today because this is the London session. It's not moving anywhere. New York session is off. So we will look for a sell setup, not a buy setup. If it goes up, buy the euro, right? You notice we're having a lot of conflicting patterns in all of them, which means that by sometime, this one again, this went up. I wasn't expecting this to go up more. We were expecting it to drop. Turned out we've got a big flat here and it's going up. We do have divergence. I think the 1 hour should also show divergence. Yeah, internal divergence in the 1 hour. So that is for the move up here. I still think this might have some effect with this. If not, we'll have to figure out whether, this was some kind of running flat of its own in here. I like this pattern, so I wouldn't probably go with it like this. Right? There's a 1, 2, 3 and a 1, 2, because then this would become a contracting flat. Doesn't make sense. I actually like this. So, but it can go higher. It can even go there and then come back. The big picture of this, sorry guys, the big picture of this is still downside. And that has not changed. Even though we have divergence, all it's telling us is that this correction here could be bigger, right? It could do that. In case of a running flat here, that was normal. Now we're getting a big kind of a flat here, which after this one, but then we had that previously here. You got this, then you go back and you get this. And maybe it will just start dropping from there. We need to break this low, then go back up, or it just makes a bigger consolidation than come here. So at the top there, do we have a buy setup? If we do, we're not buying it. I think, no, we don't have really a buy setup, at least not as yet, right? I want to see this piece, this consolidation, do this, come back here, make a flat, and then maybe we'll get this. But then again, this is not one you want to buy. We have divergence, and that means we'll be very careful of any buyer. But any sell setup on this we get. We don't have any. But should it make a sell setup today, tomorrow, we will take the trade. Right? So we're still assuming that this is what we're doing there because there's no buy setup in it right now. New Zealand, exactly the same pattern, exactly the same thing. This was the buy, take that off. That's another one. It's going higher. This became more of a flat rather than drop. I think that's clear. We got a new high. I don't know if any of my traders in the buy here. But again, if this buy is looking much more than this, so that means we might have to ignore this, put it in the upside or put it in the downside. But this is becoming one huge pattern. Now, do I think this is a separate one from what is happening here, what is this piece is doing? It's possible, but at the end of the whole thing, we might be looking at all of this as one huge expanding flat. I think that would be a possibility. If that happens, we might be relooking at the way we looked at this piece. So it's going up, but it's not upside. We're not trying to come and retest the top. I think most likely we're just correcting deeper to come and retest the low. That is this low with a very deep correction. We've had that case. See this huge correction here, and then it dropped, make it low before it goes. Pretty much the same thing. This one looked like it would drop. Instead, it made a correction here, go back up, then come. So we thought this one here would drop, making a big correction, then drop. So there's still more downside. The question is, how high would this go before it come, and what pattern we'd look at? Because we're not looking at this pattern anymore. Right? I think that one is over. We'll take this off, and we'll most likely look at this whole piece as making a bigger correction here. All right, we almost broke the top, so you can put this trend line here. Now take this off. So this becomes like a separate correction of its own. This one did drop. That is okay. This one dropped, pull back, drop. We don't have anything for this. That will be standalone correction on a lower degree, lower time frame. And this is making something here. The whole thing is that this is really sharp. And we're getting consolidation. So I think the first trade you want is down here, back to the top, and that will confirm downside. So if we get this coming back here, if we get this coming back to this point, we'll look for a sell setup here. We'll look for a move back up because I don't think that will be the one that dropped. Complete that flat and then downside. Because we came back to the low, the probability is that's a big flat forming there. So let's see if that works. Come to the 15 minutes, see if you have any sell setup, take the trade. If you have any buy setup, it's a valid trade, but with a lot of caution. So if you get we don't have any buy setup here right now, but if you should get a buy setup, it's a good trade. You just have to be very cautious as you come to this top. And I think we will break this top if we haven't broken it this yet. Now we'll break the top. So most likely there's one more up. If you get a nice pullback, why not take the trade? See how far it goes. We don't know how far it's going to go above this. But after that, we're going down. So you can look for a short-term buy setup, but then the bigger picture would be downside. CAD? Okay, again, we're in this structure. This looks very corrective. Can that be the one that goes all the way to the top? Well, let's look at it. We're in this bigger one, right? At this point, we thought it's over and this is going to go, because that would have been nice. Complete flat, this is going to go, but we didn't break the top. So when you don't break the top, you're assuming you're making a bigger consolidation. Now, this trend line is incorrect at the moment. We never broke this low. We need to break it. But this is looking very corrective. This here is looking very corrective. So I wouldn't be surprised if we drop, break the low, and then go back up. Now, if that happens, we'll go with this as the first one. This is the last one. And then all of this in here will become some form of a correction that we'll have to figure out. I think we'll figure that out. Maybe it becomes more complex and then everything will be okay. All right, so we'll just have to wait and see. If this drops here, if this one is to drop here, break the low, go back up as a 1, 2, 3, and then come back down, then everything will be perfect. We don't know if it's going to be perfect. You can look for sell setups here. CAD doesn't necessarily have to do, it might not be dollar movement. The first movement in most of these pairs might not be dollar movement, might be, individual currency moving in their own. So that upside worked, but it didn't go the way we expected to go. It didn't go all the way to the top. So I'll take this out, but we bought this one here. So we did get some really good trades in it. Take that out, and now we're going to look at this. We kind of broke the top here, make a correction, go there. This could be a correction again. It's not that corrective, but you can make an argument that it looks very similar to this one, right? And this piece doesn't have a sharp move up. So this is going to drop more. This, whatever it's doing here, is going to drop more. The chances are you might stick here for a while and then drop again. But we'll take the first sell we get, put it to break even and see what happens. So this is definitely going to break the low. It looks like this. I don't think that is it, because this looks like a separate smaller flat. This drop, it didn't break the low, it's doing this. Let's see if it stays there as a consolidation. Selling it here is not a good idea. Let it come here, go back up there, make something like this, right? Maybe even come here, go there, and then do something like this. Let it make a pattern that we are clearly, we can clearly see, and then we go for the sell. Right now, if it's consolidating here for this one, 1, 2, 3, take this as a 1, 2, 3. Let's look at this as a 1, 2, 3 sharp move. It means all of this here, whatever this is, could still go back up as a 1, 2, 3 and complete the running flat for the sell. So right now, the sell here is a bad idea. We just wait, but it will be a sell setup. Swiss, I think pretty much the same thing, right? This would have been a good correction to drop, right? This piece here has a perfect correction. That should have dropped. But it's not dropping. So the longer they stay here, the more this thing becomes a bigger complex pattern for downside. That's the top of the whole structure. Go back to the 1 hour. Right? The longer it stays there, but what if it does this? Right? Remember this one here when we thought it would drop and then it started to do that, drop, go back up, give you a nice running flat. What if we're doing exactly the same thing? Stay here, probably drop, probably go back up, give you something like that, drop here and then go. Good. And then we can figure that out if that happens, right? So this could be making a correction for one more up. Do we have divergence between these two? Well, let's see if we have. Nope, we don't. So that upside is very likely going to happen. I think this would come a little lower, but then most likely upside. So I'm going to pull the trend line just to give us a gauge as to whether we're still in the pattern or not. The trend line is irrelevant to what the chart is going to do. Those of you who joined us last week, you learned something about that, right? I'm not going to go into more details. If you were in the trading room live, good for you. Otherwise to that, well, nothing I can do about it. So 15 minutes here, right? We will look for a sell setup. I just don't like this to be the sell setup, but you'll also be aware that this might not drop far because this again could be the sharp piece in it. It's not really a good sharp piece. There's a small flat in here, running flat. So it's more of a 1, 2, 3 structure. But if this gets bigger, then we just stay in this whole piece for a while, right? This could be 1, 2, 3. This could be 1, 2, 3. Just break the low and go back up as a 1, 2, 3, and then drop. Right? We've seen that pattern before. Now, we will still take the sell because I think equipped with that knowledge, we should be able to manage our way to break even. All right, so let's wait and see what it's doing. It's not, I don't see any trade set up on it right now. Not for a buy, not for a sell. So yen, definitely a sell. So you're selling yen, but you're selling yen only to come back to break this low. So this is a trade you're looking for. I hope it consolidates more up so we can get this, and then we will be selling it for this one. Now, when it breaks this low, the question is, does it go back up or does it keep dropping? Right, we are very high in this structure. We do have divergence. I think you can make that argument easily. Divergence at the top there, you have divergence. With this, you have divergence internally. But that doesn't mean that this can't be a flat. Go back, retest the top, and still have divergence. Right, but can it drop through the bottom? Well, looking at the way we have this pattern, I think that's a likelihood, right? This could come back here, make a flat, and then go back up. It could totally drop. So first, we're going to watch for this move here. Should it go back up, we'll take off the trade. We'll look for a buy setup. We'll look for a sell setup, and then we're expecting it to come here. Now, would it go retest the top? That's a possibility. Break the top and then come. Or just keep dropping. It doesn't matter that pullback is as long as we haven't broken that up. So your first trade is a sell in the lower time frame. Very small sell within this flat. But we will take it because it might still drop through the bottom, right? This could be it. So the sell here is a good idea. You've got a 15 minutes flag, put an entry under the logo with it, sell entry. Now, if everything that I just explained there is not clear to you, especially if you're on YouTube watching this video, again, you have to understand the way we look at patterns and the way we trade them. Euro yen. Okay, this wasn't the sell. The sell would have been from the top, but to the sell that there was break even. Turned out we got some huge flats here. And we broke the top finally. So we're here. And if you remember, I said before it dropped, it has to break that up. So Friday, although we had some sell setups, we didn't take it because I don't think this can drop without breaking this top of that correction. So now that we've broken the correction top, let's go get the trade, right? This could either go some more and then drop or start dropping now. We definitely have divergence here. You could also see the structure of the divergence. So we're looking for a sell setup here. We've got a channel forming here. I think that's clear. So depending on whether we have news or not, we can put an entry order for a sell here. Now, the idea is that this is going to drop through really fast. If it's not going to drop through really fast, then we get a flag from the top to sell coming down. Now, do we have a flag? No, we don't. We actually have a small running flat, which would either be this small running flat, or you can go with this one as a running flat. Now, this is going back up, so we don't have any trade. Even if this just do something like this and come back here, this will be one more up, right? Pretty much like these, right? Small flags, one more up. We're not looking for any buy setup here. Wait for a sell setup. We don't have it. So I'll put wait for a sell setup, although we don't have any sell setup right now. You can actually put this here, but today will be useless. So I don't think it's going to drop today. Who knows? It's a yen, right? There could be a separate movement, right? You may want to put it. EuroCAD, by the way, for those of you who put this one on Friday, remember that one? You probably took it off this morning for break, even if you left it. If you took it off, no big deal. So EuroCAD. Okay, this one didn't drop, and now we're consolidating at the top of this whole structure. So let's take this out, put it back here, or put it here and put this one there, because this was the lowest point, right? This here was the lowest point. So you would have to put this here for the final drop like this, right? We were assuming 1, 2, 3 flat, similar to this flat, and then drop, right? We were thinking that it was going to make a similar flat like this, which it started to do. It actually made the flat 1, 1, 2, 3. But that flat didn't drop. So this is still a flat. That hasn't changed. But now that has turned into a bigger correction. Sorry, let me take this off. That has turned into a bigger correction because that's not the only flat we have. Now we have 2 flats. You have this one as well. And I think we agree that if you have 2 flats, you're probably making a bigger correction, right? So this is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're still going up because we'll need to break the top. So we'll probably look at it this way. Impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse. Final impulse, go to the top. And then this is going to drop. So we'll probably leave it like that and make this a bigger correction of its own. Just something pretty big like this. This is just a bigger correction. So this is a small flat. You can probably leave it like that. This is a correction, and this down move is just small corrections of their own, like we thought. Correction, drop, correction, drop, correction, drop, and this was the low. So this turned out to be the low, and this is now it's making a bigger correction. So you can take that out. It's not a big correction. It's just happened to be moving slowly down. It's not an ending diagonal. It could be a channel to the downside, but not an ending diagonal. So the 4-hour, we're not going up because we still need to come here. And so that you know, I'm very convinced we're going there. This was the first forecast. And then it started to do that. And we said, well, this should drop now. And now it's doing this, and we're going for this one to drop there. So we're pretty convinced it's going to the bottom there. We just can't get the move to go the way we want it to go. Now, can the final move do that once this break the top here? Can we see this drop? Maybe. We'll see. So let's go back to the 1 hour. You needed to break the top. You have a buy setup. You can go with it. What's the trade? Okay, you need this to come back here. Make this flag. You take this flag to go break this top. If you want the trade. And then we're looking for a sell. What you can do is you can just allow it to go break the top and then look for the sell setup, because that makes more sense. Right? The sell setup will be easier. Let's just let it go break the top, because the risk to reward is not good. You have to put a stop here. You're just breaking this top. And as soon as it tags the top, it can reverse. So we'll leave it. It's a buy setup, but that is only if you want the trade. Euros. Okay, this came down again, and we're stuck with whether we think this is making a bigger correction, because that's possible, or is this the top and we're dropping? Because we're expecting this thing to come back and retest this low. So for now, we'll assume that it's just a correction, a bigger correction, and this is going to go back up. Now that leaves us in a dilemma, how big and how we would look at the structure, but we'll come to that when it comes to the top, because when it comes to the top, we're selling again. Right? We're expecting that to do 1, 2, 3, come back here, and then go. So we will be looking for a sell from the top. Now, can we buy it to go up? Seems like we can do that if we get a setup. There's a lot of flats here and another flat here and another correction and a correction. So if you look at it this way, it's more like a channel. You got this one, you got this one, then you get this one, and then you have this one. And now we might be making one here, because this is inside of that, right? This will probably come here, go back there, make another flat, drop again. Do we want to sell it? With this structure in mind, do we want to sell that? I think we don't. Really don't want to sell it. So let's wait to see if this becomes a bigger flat, and we'll sell. If it comes back to the top here, we'll sell it. So I'm going to pull these two lines. We're looking at a big channel forming here, right? Not a running flat. I don't think it's a running flat. I think it's more of a big channel. So should this one work its way back up to the top here and then do this and then go back there? If we get this, we're selling from the top here going down. Can this break out? It can, but it's not. It doesn't have any buy setup for a breakout. So most likely we're going to retest this low, and this might be the top still. Right? That might be the top. This might just be a deep channel, a big channel before they drop. I don't see it as a running flat, but we'll relook at it if that happens. I don't see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This was sharp up, so this would have to go up sharp. We don't have any sharp move. It's not a running flat. It's more of a channel forming. So for this, sorry guys, I think this piece is incomplete. We need this to finish what it's doing. Come back here, go back there. If by then we get this and we get this, we'll be selling. So let's wait and see. We don't have any trade set up. Euro New Zealand. Okay, let's see where this is going. 15 and 1 hour. Just keep selling. Right? It's going to break this low. If you get a flag sell, once you break that low, you're going to be cautious, because when we break that low, the chances are we can go right back up. Right? This might be more corrective than this. So this whole thing might become a flat. In the big picture, we still have this sharp one too, so I don't think this is equivalent of that. I think if this actually makes a flag here and drop and, come finish this, we'll probably go back up there, complete this, and still drop one more. So go back to the 1 hour. If you get a flag sell, we don't have any flag. We don't have any sell setup. We just need a flag or something like that for a sell setup. So we're looking for a sell setup. right? With that said, I'm going to go and do some of these. So we're looking at this. It's still a sell. You can still drop. This piece now, you've got to be cautious with the sell. All of these coming down here from the top. We were selling this from the top here coming down, but now you're actually at the low. You're very close to breaking that low. And all we need to know is whether it's going to break this low or not. Because once that low is broken, you're likely going to be looking for this thing to go right back up. So question is, do you want if you didn't get any of those cells, do you want this one? And if you got all of those, do you still want this one? It's going to drop. It's making a small flag. But now that cell becomes pretty dangerous. Divergence is in play, and there's a good point that this could start to go back up. So you may want to skip this cell, wait for the upside. Logically, this thing can't go down too low too. It can probably go to about $1 or a little less than $1, but after that, you know it's going to go back up, right? Because there's a cost of production and transportation and all of that. So it can't really be that cheap. So you got to be careful, right? With cells at the bottom here. I think we just let it finish and then wait for the buy setup. Okay, oil's still consolidating, and there's a chance this could drop. First, it might just drop like this and go back up, or it could drop like this one and then go back up, making this the running flat and then go back up. So if you want this sell, you can take it, but you have to be cautious, right? Of two possibilities. It's a sell setup, it's an active trade. You have a flat, you can put an entry under the low. And the first one you want to exclude is this. The first one you want to exclude is this one. And the second one that you think is possible will be this. So this one will be for the target coming here and then upside. And this is just to give you break even should it not go. Now, if it stays here in consolidate mode, just take off the trade. You know the rules. We're looking at this as a possible flat for upside. And that could probably do this and then go break the top and then come down back. So we can still sell it. I think the sell is a good idea. So we'll put this as an active sell, which means we have an entry order there, right? Doesn't mean we're in the sell. Okay. This one did break the top. And now you're making this, so this should come back here. Right? We're looking for this trade down. So this is a good sell setup. That was a sell. These were buys. You can put a sell here now. We're looking at this as a possible flat. Remember, we didn't have anything for this, and that's why we thought it could drop a lot. Well, now we're getting something for it. We're getting this one. Should this do that, we have a perfect flat here for upside. So that sell setup is actually very good. And do I want it to go back up? Absolutely. Right? You want this to go back up a little like that. Then you have this piece, and then you have this, and look for this drop. If it breaks this top, we can put this entry order under here. But for now, keep it here. Expect it to go break that up, and then expect it to drop. Right? So let's say we had a flat here. We have a flat here. Sorry, guys. 1 second. So this is a sell setup. You can put an entry order here and go for the sell. Ah, we already have one, sorry. And go. This would be sell. S&P 500. Okay, this one is a little different in that you have two sharp moves here, and that's a problem, right? You have this sharp move, and you have this sharp move. And there is a small flat here that should go back up, and then you probably get this one. But because you have two sharp moves, this can drop here, go back up, drop here, and then become a flat. You'll probably get break even out of the trade, but it's not such a good trade for a sell. These were good sell setups. This was a buy one, perfect buy setup. So we'll take all of these out now. We don't need them. And we really don't have a good trade here. See, that one has one single sharp move down. This has two sharp moves down. So it can retest the top. We can't buy it either. And this has a nice drop. Now, where do we think this is going to go? Let's see. Expecting it to come and retest this bottom. Why? Because we had this drop here, right? So let's see if we get it. It's coming down. We broke out of this already. You're making a flat here. Let's see if that flat is ready to go. Not exactly. But should this go back up to the top here and drop like this, we'd expect one more up, take this running flat, and then go for that sell. So if we get that pattern, we're selling it. Otherwise, that we're just waiting. Look for a sell setup if that pattern should play out. Tesla, if it consolidates here, buy. So we could assume that this is the low now because Tesla kind of started going up. That was the low. This is the first move up. This one is really sharp. This pullback is sharp. So we'll probably get another pullback and then look for buy setups. All right, we'll be trying to get it there. You can actually put an entry above the stop. We had a buy earlier that we closed, but you can put an entry here should this take off. I think it could pull back like this and then actually go. Okay, this is not going to come lower, so we'll have to go with some kind of a contracting flat here. That's the closest you get to it. We're going to break this top. So there, if you make a flag here, go for the buy. Probably make a flag here. Go for this trade. Because from there, we're coming down back. Right? We're going to see what that looks like. Let me just come here on the floor. Yeah, I think we've got this right. It came, but it didn't break the low. We're just assuming this one is going up back. It has to break that top. And then we're going to get all these pieces that we already forecast, right? So we're going to get these two sharp ones, and then we're going to get this big one. So let's see. We already did the downside. We're about to do the upside. And then we're going to see if we get this downside here and this upside, and then we're going to drop. So far, it's going good. Let's see. Go back to the 1 hour. And this. Yep, looks like a sell setup. Looks like a very good sell setup forming there. Not there as yet. You want it to pull back. You want this to go back up there like a running flat. Make this one. And then drop. So we're looking for a sell setup, but you really want that pullback. So go for a sell setup. Should this drop one more, just let it drop. Right? Should this piece drop a little more here? Should this drop a little more here? Let it drop, wait for that pullback, go for this trade, and then go for it. Okay, you had a flag already at top, take this out. The buy would have been lower, but if you bought, they're good. They made a flag here already. That would have been a good sell. Wait for another flag sell. Nifty. Okay, we broke the top now. So literally any flag or correction you get, you can go with it. Any reversal sell. Right, then the big picture, this could be making a more complex pattern at the top there. So what you want is a flag or a correction here to continue to go. Any flag or correction. By any reversal from this point, we'll sell. Right, because this has a big flat, this has a big. We might be making a more complex turning point at the top. See, it's kind of giving you divergence all the way. So there's a good chance they're just making a flat, go make a flat, go make a flat, and then turn. Right now, it's a buy setup. Bitcoin, okay, Bitcoin seems to be consolidating at the top. I don't think we're going up. I think we're mostly consolidating. So you got this one here for a flat. You got 1, 2, 3, kind of doing this here. I think it's going to go up one more there and then come back here maybe as a 1, 2, 3. This would be a perfect flat for upside if that happens. So right now, this is like a buy setup. You just want it to come down. You want it to come down like this for a running flat. So you want this to come down here, and then we'll go with a possible running flat here for one more up. I don't think the upside is going to be really huge because, again, this 1, 2, 3 means this goes up there, 1, 2, 3. Come back here, 1, 2, 3, and then go. So we end up with something like this. So this buy, if you're going to get a buy set up here to take it, it's only to break this top, which means very, very short-lived. ETH, it's going up a lot. We're supposed to come down from there. We don't have this as yet, and it's going up, so we might get it from somewhere there. Looks like a really, really long move up, but if you're going to buy the top there with a lot of caution, right? You make sure you get a very good flag and then go for it. So this thing has to really make something like this before you decide that is a good buy. Right now, we're expecting the downside. The bigger picture supports that too. Right? You go to the daily structure. This whole piece supports the idea that this should come back down. Maybe then go. So right now, look for sell setups. XRP, Okay, it looks like we're about to drop. This is a nice consolidation here. Go for the sell setup. That is if you can sell it. ADA. Okay, we're coming back to this top, and then we'll know what happens, right? From that top, every buy, if you get a buy setup here, take it, but it's just to get back to that top. And then from there, we might be seeing this going out, which means we'll have to come back and see where to put this. If you don't have anything for this sharp one, it's just standing alone. Can we put it with this one as a contracting flat? Maybe, we'll see. It could be, and then this is upside. So if you get a flag here, buy. Look for a flag buy. Short term though, because it could still come back down and drop, and that means that will change everything. Yep, this looks like it's consolidating at the top here. So that would become a buy. Dash. Okay, I think this one is not, it didn't give that flat, but this one is definitely a correction here. So the question is, are we still looking for 1, 2, 3? I still think so. I still think this is going to come down. We're coming down for this one. Yep, that could be part of it. Can we look at this whole thing here as a triangular pattern with this piece? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this becomes 1, 2, 3, and we coming back for this. Okay, it's kind of possible. All right, we can hold it like that for now. No, that would not be possible. This one is lower. So all of this could be a correction, but it's more like a contracting flat. Yep. As of now, it's looking like contracting flat, or we can put this here as the flat. This broke the low, so you can't do that. Kind of a contracting flat. So let's wait and see. You have 1, 2, 3. This should come down back. We'll wait for look for sell setups. Dot. Looks like this is going to go up one more. And then we'll see what happens, right? So let's go back to the 15. Because the 1 hour there is not good. This could go up a little. I don't think it's a good buy. Wait for the sell setup when it starts coming down. Okay, we broke that up, and this was the flat, and it's kind of making its small correction here. Let them make that correction, and we're looking for a trade to the downside, right? Looking for this to drop. So let's see what happens there. So I think this is correcting too. We kind of, this is all the correction, but this is not going aggressive. This is a buy setup to break this top. And to break that top, we'll see if they drop or if they still go up, because it's not going impulsively, it's just going really slow, but it's a buy setup. So you can make an argument for a buy here. Link. Wait for this to go back up. This here should go back up some more. Break this top, and then we can look for downside. So I think there's a good chance this would go back up, because this looks like a flat. Let's see. If we're going to sell, it has to come break this low and then give us a sell setup. Okay, this is going up more too, so take this off. And the question is this over? All right, is that correction over for upside? Daily, let's see. I don't think it is. I don't think this is over, because we don't have a complete pattern here. One second, guys. Yeah, we don't have a complete pattern in this whole thing here. So we probably just wait and see if we get a flag. Every flag you get, you buy, but with a lot of caution. So we might look at this as a small running flat here. This doesn't have anything. It has to be like correction of its own. Let it drop, make a flag, and then we sell. Okay, this one is at the top. It has to come back. For some reason, this thing has to come back, retest the low, and then we go. So look for sell setups. And that's it. We actually cover all of them. Let it come break this low, and then we'll see the upside. If we're going up from here, we need a flat, right? If this is going up from there to retest the top, we'll need a flat. So come back to the 15. We don't have any flat there. Doesn't look like it's making a flat though, because it's looking downside. Okay, with that said, I will stop the recording and we can go back to looking at pairs that moved while I was here and what you guys would like to see. Stop recording.